One of the causes for anti-Semitism, jealousy. There are those who say that Islamic anti-Semitism, old-style Christian anti-Semitism, could very well be coming from a jealousy. We're coming to the holiday of Shavuot, when God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, and He makes us a chosen nation. V'yisim li skula, you shall be for me a special people from amongst all the nations. Well, will that create a jealousy? It might, but if you think about it, amongst the Jewish people, there are different groups as well. As a matter of fact, we all put the Cohen on a pedestal. He gets honor. I'm not jealous of a Cohen. He has his role. It's a very special role. But I have my role. I'm not jealous. You can learn from them, you can gain from them, but there's no reason to be jealous because of their role of being a priest, which is to serve. Indeed, the being chosen is not being chosen for special privileges, it's being chosen to be a teacher, to be a guide, to be those who share God's morality and ethics and values with the world. That's what our choice is for. And for that, we're given special abilities. So let's go dig a little bit more into this idea of this jealousy. In this week's Torah portion, we read how the Jews traveled through the desert. And one of the elements that the Torah emphasizes this week, that we all had, every tribe, there were 12 tribes, each had a flag. Flag that had the color of the tribe, that was associated with a special gemstone that was in the Cohen's breastplate, had a shape, it had maybe sometimes an animal, like Yehuda had a lion, and Ephraim had an ox, Dan had an eagle, Reuven had a human. So there were humans. Reuven's also had flowers that he brought to Leah. So each one had their flag. And the Torah puts a lot of emphasis how we all encamped within our tribe. And this is so important, it seems like, that the Rambam tells us when Mashiach will come, he will say from which tribe we are. Every Jew, we all know we're the Jewish people, but we don't really know, other than a Cohen or Levi, we don't know which tribe we're from. Mashiach will tell us which tribe we're from. Ezekiel says that in the future, Jerusalem will have 12 gates to get into the city, each gate for another tribe. When God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, 22,000 angels, it says, came down with him. And they all had, they had these camps of flags that said which group each angel was from. This is a group of love, and this is the group of discipline, etc. And the Jewish people saw that, and they were jealous of the angels, and they wanted flags themselves, and therefore Hashem gave us this concept of having groups and flags, each of the 12 tribes, then 3 tribes together made an encampment that had its own flag. And to the extent that the Torah tells us, when the nations of the world saw how the Jews camped, they said, wow, we want you to come and teach us. We want you to become leaders within our communities. That's how impressed they were with it. What's the message here? What's this all about? We see that from the beginning of the Torah, an emphasis on the negative character of jealousy. Original sin, according to other religions, they associated with sexual deviance. In Judaism, it's jealousy. The snake is jealous of Adam and Eve. Eve is jealous of a woman that Adam would marry if she died after eating from the tree, who wasn't born yet, and therefore make sure he would eat. They both ate because they were jealous, so to speak, of God, knowing everything because he ate from the tree of knowledge. Cain is jealous of Abel, and you see it in families also. You have Cain, jealous, of course, of Abel. So Cain is the older one. He's on the scene. Then the younger one comes and usurps him, and he's jealous of him, and he kills him. You have Yitzchak and Yishmael. Yishmael comes first. Yitzchak comes. Seems like he usurps him. He gets jealous of him. He doesn't kill him, but he moves away. Esau wants to kill Jacob. Esau's older. Jacob usurps him. Esau comes, and eventually they hug. Joseph and his brothers, again, he's younger than most of them. They hate him, they want to kill him, they sell him to slavery. He forgives them. Ephraim and Manasseh. Ephraim is younger than Manasseh, but he is, Yaakov puts his right hand on him and blesses him first. But we don't find any anger or any hatred from Manasseh to Yaakov. And then we go to Moses and Aaron. Aaron is the leader in Egypt for many years. He's the prophet. And then Moshe comes and Yaakov and Aaron says, I'll be your deputy. Remarkable. So we see that a situation where jealousy is a cause of much of the strife that people have, and the jealousy comes from within the family. And the reason for it is very simple. Because we each need to feel that we're important. And then we see someone else who we think is doing better than us, and we get jealous of them. And what we have to realize, and this is what the Jewish people saw with the flags of the angels, that they weren't jealous of each other. Each one had a mission, each one had their purpose, and they were collectively together in such a peaceful, calm way that there was no concept of jealousy. And that's what we desired, that every single one of us should appreciate and understand what our destiny is, what our purpose is. Each one of us has their unique contribution to make, and then there's no reason to be jealous of anyone else, because you're not that person. You don't have their mission, you have your own mission. And that's why, and do not covet is one of the 10 commandments, why it's so important, because it really goes to faith. If you believe that you have the talents and the abilities and the qualities that God has given you, then there's no reason to be jealous of another person. Because you have your mission and they have theirs. You have what you need for your mission and they have what they need for their mission. That is fundamental to our perspective on life. The faith that God knows what He's doing, gives me what I need. So how do you know what your mission is? Think about your talents, where you live, where you work, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Sometimes, where your challenges are. All that could be tea leaves to tell you what your mission is. And the same thing in circumstances, situations. You might have a particular mission at this time, and the circumstance, situation that's around you guides you to know what that mission is. There's a chassid, his name was Moshe Slonim. He used to live 2 stores, he used to live in downstairs, like a basement, where I grew up, and in Crown Heights. But beforehand, he lived in Israel for many years, and he was involved in the educational, Chabad educational activities. He was very involved with government officials in the education department. And he would invite them over often. And one of the times he used to invite them all the time is the first night of Rosh Hashanah. He invited people over from the education department. Now, Rosh Hashanah in Chabad is a time of tremendous seriousness and praying, not quickly, but actually focusing on your prayers and considering this is the time that we're actually making Hashem as king. And you study Hasidic discourses and you pray with slowly and meditate, contemplate what it means, what the relationship is, what is God, human being, what the power of Rosh Hashanah is. It's not just something that you do in a very short period of time. And so many Chassidim, on the first night of Rosh Hashanah, I remember my father used to go away, find a corner after the service finished in the shul, and he used to daven for a lengthy period of time. And so Moshe Slonim used to go back home on Rosh Hashanah night with his guest after shul finished and see all these Chassidim sitting there. This one is studying, this one is meditating, contemplating greatness of Hashem, and so on and so forth. And he really wanted to do that himself, but he couldn't. He had guests. So one year he decided, this year we're not inviting anybody. And that's what he's going to do. So Rosh Hashanah night, the service finishes, he opens his mimer, discourse, and he's about to learn and really get into it. And then he picks up he lifts his head and he sees at the door of the shul, They're two secular-looking Jews. So he approaches them. A couple. They said, well, we were just driving down the main highway. We see Kfar Chabad. He said, let's see how Rosh Hashanah is celebrated in Chabad. So Moshe Shlonim had to close his book and take him home. And then he knew that's his mission. His purpose, his mission, is to educate the people in the education department. That was his goal. That's what he was there for. And the others were able to meditate and contemplate. That was their thing. Now, lastly, we as a Jewish people, one of our missions is to be a light unto the nations. It's to guide the entire world on the purpose of being in this world. Now, it seems opposite to what we're feeling and seeing, especially with the Royal Commission, but maybe it's happening in order for us to realize that, hey, the spotlight's on us. We need to be who we are. We need to learn about it. So we're doing a course called For All Humankind that's being run in dozens of institutions in Australia and around the world. Participate. You could send me a message if you want to be part of the course I'm running, which is also going to be on Zoom at the beginning of June. Otherwise, find your nearest shul, nearest community that is teaching for all humankind. Shabbos.